Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Author Podcast. Today is Sunday, May 19th, 2024. This is episode number, pulling up the podcast outline, 265. I am one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff, and with me, as he is each week, even through all of my technical problems, it's Rich Kacy. Rich, how are you?
I'm doing really well. I mean, I had a chance while you were trying to fix the technical problems to have dinner, so I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I'm so jealous. You have a full tummy, and I don't get to have one yet, but I will. I will absolutely have one in a little while.
It was just salad, so that wasn't, so it's nothing really to be jealous about.
You had a rabbit's dinner, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. Not to mention that it had turkey, potatoes, feta cheese, cucumbers, beans, and all kinds of stuff on it. But
potatoes, tell me more about that.
I dug my. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but I dug my first potatoes yesterday and made them up, and there was some left over, so I cut them up and heated them up and put them on the salad. It was good.
Actually, now that you say that, I put French fries on a salad sometimes.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's the same thing. Okay, that makes sense. All right, I feel better now. All right. Before I get into my weekly stats, I want to talk about the Patreon page. I have 3 videos up there now in the plotting book 4 series. That's going to be 4 videos long, so I have 1 still left to do. I didn't actually do it last night like I had been doing most of them on a Saturday, but it is up there. So if you want to get on it, check it out. You can get into the dollar tier. It's patreon.com/newauthorpodcast, patreon.com/newauthorpodcast. You can also see those on YouTube as I'm releasing them a week early on Patreon. So it's youtube.com/@newauthorpodcast, I believe. That'll get you there. And all the links are going to be in the show notes, so you can check them out. Heading into my stats for last week, no changes to either book 2 or book 3. Book 2 just needs a final edit. Book 3, the first draft is finished. I just never opened either of them. I'm going to move. I had been talking about editing chapter 1 of book 2 as part of my weekly goals. I'm going to move that to my long-term goals and just do it whenever I feel like doing it. There's no reason to kind of force myself to do it during the week if I'm not ready to. So I'm definitely going to move that out of there. I did start book 4 this past week, and it's currently sitting at 4,280 words. That is through the first 3 chapters. There is no prologue in this one. And I don't even know if the previous one needs a prologue. I mean, the prologue really can just be chapter 1. I mean, how do you feel about prologues?
I feel it's kind of random whether people label them as a prologue or as chapter 1. The only way it really makes sense to me is if the prologue occurs at some time that's very distant from this time in which the story is set, or a different, completely different place. Then it kind of makes sense to have a prologue because it's like its own separate little story, and then, but it informs the reader for what the story that's about to come up.
Yeah, now that you say that, my book 3 has a prologue that literally takes place, I believe, 3 days before chapter 1, so it probably doesn't need it.
Yeah, probably not. It could just be chapter 1. Yeah.
All right, I'll remember that when I'm formatting, because this one I didn't even put the prologue. I just wrote chapter 1, which is really a week before chapter 2. So
but even that's close enough.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I often see them done when. Like especially in science fiction stories, the prologue often sets up the world and the crisis that's going to occur, but the reason why it's occurring is because of something that happened like 100 years earlier or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I have seen, and I not recently because I don't really watch a lot of writing YouTube videos anymore, but I have seen people in the past on the the whole I'm going to give you advice about writing YouTube video series where people are like never have a prologue. Readers hate prologues, and other ones where readers don't care. I don't think readers care at all, right? They don't look at they don't necessarily care what the heading says. It's the first set of words in the book, so that's what they read. Is that?
Yeah, right? Yeah. I don't. The only time when a reader might not really enjoy a prologue and maybe would put them off your book is if the prologue is used just for a complete information dump.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that. You want to have characters in the prologue. You want to have some interaction between characters.
Yeah. Well, good, because in this one I didn't do a prologue, and now in book 3 and possibly I can't remember if I put one in book 2 or not. I think I did. So in both cases, I just might move them into chapter 1 when I get ready to go ahead and format it. So my running, so in terms of stats for the year, again, the goal was 240,000 words. I'm currently at 58,874, so I'm about 25% of the way there. I'm I'm a little bit behind. I think last week I was close to behind, being back to even. And this week I just fell off the wagon. I'm about 4,500 words behind right now for that goal. But I have a big buffer in there. So even if I fall behind, I can still hit the 240,000 words just fine. So I'm not real concerned about it, especially with my next 3 to 4 weeks coming up, which I'll talk about, maybe 5 weeks coming up, which I'll talk about later on. In terms of the goals that I've set, I have a lot of days off. We have a couple of different holidays coming up, a lot of weekends. So I should be able to not only get caught up, but get ahead and, really jump on book 4 pretty hard. My word count per hour continues to climb. Last week it ended at 1018. This week it ended at 1031, which is still because I'm just doing first draft only, that first maybe month, 6 weeks or so, I was doing first draft and first revision, which really drug that number down. So as I go on week to week, it's pulling that number back up I want to get it to around 1,200 by the end of the year. So in terms of my MailerLite, I haven't opened it in a while. I'm at 1080. I really have no reason to open it because I'm going to try to write all of these first drafts and then go back and start editing them and publishing them as I'm ready to. There's really nothing to say to anyone right now, and I don't think anybody really misses me, so that's not a big deal. Last week's goal, I don't think I had any goals for last week on the podcast. I don't think I said anything out loud, so I'm going to call it all a rousing success. My goals probably would have been to start working on book 4, edit the first chapter of book 2, and get back up to date or get my word count for the year back to even and even above. And in that case, I was as we said earlier when we tried this the first time, I said 1 out of 3 ain't bad, which I don't believe is how the song goes, but close.
Yeah, close enough.
It's only off by 1.
Yeah.
So those were my stats for last week. I actually feel good about last week, even though I fell behind in the words. I feel good about starting book 4, and I'm pretty happy with where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, my stats for the week are kind of like a dog's breakfast, actually. I didn't do much writing at all for reasons that I'll talk about a little bit later, but I did do a little bit of writing. I got 1,617 words for the week, and that was all on book 1 in the Amelia series, the Here Today, Goya Tomorrow. And that book currently stands at 14,321 words. Now, my goals for the week turned out to be far more ambitious than I was able to accomplish, given what was happening. I wanted to have at least 5,000 words for a week, so that's a big fail. And in terms of outside stuff, away from writing, in terms of house maintenance and things like that, at a minimum, I wanted to complete some gate frames for our driveway and get them hung, but I failed completely on that and never even touched that project. So hopefully sometime in the future I'll get to it, but it's not going to be this coming week either.
I like that. Your gate frames are my edit book 2, chapter 1.
Yes, exactly.
I don't even know if I thought about opening the book. I don't know if you thought about the gate frames at all.
No, I didn't.
Thought about it. Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, not a bit.
All right. So I don't think I said it this time, but I'm just going to say that now that I'm a YouTube sensation, that may have cut into it didn't cut into my writing. Definitely not. It did cut into my evening time, which is I'm okay with. Sunday night, as soon as we were finished recording the podcast last week, I came back here to this table that I'm sitting at. I set up the APBA football game, the dice football game that I play. I did a half an hour video on how to play it, and then I posted it onto my own personal YouTube channel. The game is great. I've been playing it since 1983, kind of on and off. And they give you a game that you can play solo or you can play with other people. And they make it so that you can customize it how you want to play. So you can play it out of the box, do everything the directions say, and enjoy life. Or you can do what I've done, which is create my own system for calling offensive plays, create my own system for calling the ball carriers or the running backs. There's a system that they have for there's an advanced system they have for defense that I use. And if you watch how different people play it, everybody does something a little bit different, including me. So I wanted to throw a video up first on how I play it. It's about a half an hour long. Got a lot of views. I got a nice comment from somebody who I don't know who said, hey, I like to see how you play it. I'm just getting into the game myself and I'm looking forward to learning it, which was nice. And I did reply. I actually figured out how to allow YouTube comments, which I hadn't been able to do on this video. Which I'm okay with. I've said before that YouTube comments are typically the cesspool of society. So I'm okay not allowing them. I'd rather people emailed us if they had questions for you and I about writing because, somebody who's annoyed or a jerk probably isn't going to take the time to open up an email box and write it and send it. You know, I don't know. That's how I kind of think about it. So
No, and anybody who's going to either email us or put a question in comments to us about writing needs to think twice.
my answer would be, here's a whole bunch of other people who do it. Ask them. Yeah.
That's right.
So I put that up on YouTube Monday. Nothing writing related for me on Monday. I did work from home all day, and then right after work, I recorded a second video on how I set up the game. Because when I play a team for the first time, I get one thing I love about this game is getting 50 cards. It's almost like having football cards. I don't know if you collected football or baseball cards when you were younger, but I did, and I love having the cards. So you get about 50 cards per team, and then you have to organize them. I set up a sheet, my own custom sheet for it. It takes me about a half an hour to do. So I recorded that video and posted it that night. I think I posted it the next day for some reason instead of just posting it immediately. But I posted that. Also to my YouTube channel. So I'm actually putting these, and it's not taking any extra time because I play the game anyway. So I'm just hitting record now on my whole camera system. I think I said you had mentioned you could see the ring light. Like right now I'm looking at it, you can see it in my glasses probably. And then I have a camera here that points straight down. I have a camera over here that points down into where my dice come out of my dice tower. I call it dice cam. It's like a close up. I love it. So I have this whole setup in the OBS studio of me playing this game, and I'll put a link to the YouTube channel in the show notes if you want to just go in and watch for like 30 seconds. I can't imagine that if you actually don't care about the game, I can't imagine you'd actually want to watch the video. You can, but I think it'd be like, somebody who doesn't like golf watching golf. They probably would find it really boring. So,
right.
So then on Tuesday, I spent a lot of time during my hour drive into work working through the beats of chapter 1 kind of out loud to myself as I drove. I had a whole bunch of bullet points from my plotting, but I wanted to make sure I understood kind of the order of what happened in that first chapter. This is the murder chapter. The murder happens at the end. I really wanted to have a really sweet scene of the victim and the not new girlfriend, kind of just the woman that he's sleeping with. I don't know. Waking up in the morning, and it's like a really nice, sweet moment. Eventually she leaves and then he gets murdered. I thought that was kind of a fun little thing to do. Have the readers hopefully go, oh, I like these two. And then bam, by the end of the chapter, he's dead. And at the end of the pinch point, she's dead too. Which I kind of like.
Who's the main character? Is the main character there in the bedroom with them?
No. He comes in chapter 2. He's now part of it.
Okay.
This is actually, I'm trying to develop an arc for my character in terms of, goes from amateur sleuth to, by the end of book 9, maybe going into becoming a private detective. And along the way, he's got a policeman who kind of worked as a father figure once his dad died. He was the one investigating his dad's death. And then, so Sam kind of leaned on him a lot. And in this book, this is the first time that police officer now asks Sam for help. In the first book, this police officer isn't in it because it takes place somewhere else. But in books 2 and 3, Sam is there kind of making a nuisance of himself. But he's also, working with his surrogate father, whatever you want to call him. So in this book now, the policeman actually calls him and asks him for help. So I'm trying to develop kind of an arc this way. There's going to be a lot of mentorship going on from the police officer in this book also. As we kind of approach the midpoint of the series, of the overarching plot. So I talked about it, about how the murder was going to happen, who was going to do it, all that good stuff, on the way to work. And at lunchtime, I sat down and wrote. I only wrote about 700 words, which is definitely less than the average that I wanted. But I was working on just getting that scene right. So I plan on reading it to my writers group. So I did a little bit of first revising on it at the same time that I was writing it. So it'll be ready for him. That night, I golfed in my golf league. Did not golf well, but still had a pretty good time. Just being outside and golfing, I really enjoy. I don't really enjoy going outside for any other reason, but being on the golf course, I do like. So that was a good time. Wednesday, nothing writing related. This is the day that I'm supposed to go. I say every week I'm going to go across the street to the library, and then every week something happens between like 11:30 and 12:15 that makes me have to work. I don't what it was. There were 2 different. We had I think 3 or 4 different production issues with some data on Wednesday on a program that I wrote a couple of years ago, and we have to update the data. I did not write a very good error catching section where if data comes in that's incorrect, the program just kind of crashes. So in the next version of the program that I'm working on right now, I've added that in so that it'll be there. But Jerry 1.0 with this program did not do a good job with some error catching.
It's the programming equivalent of Pee Wee Herman go, ah!
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's what the program does. It just freaks out and shows a white screen. So we have to go in and manually fix the data and then let them know that it's working again. So, but in the next version, which we'll be releasing in the next couple of weeks, it will be fixed. So I'm not too concerned about it right now. But it did take up a lot of Wednesdays. There were 3 or 4 that came in. You know, we can go weeks and weeks without getting one, and then on that day we got like 3 or 4 at the same time. So I do want to do this library thing. I'm doing my best to do it, and I think I had mentioned to you earlier. You know, even at like 12:15, I can go to lunch because we've fixed the issues, or the meetings ended, the phone call ends, whatever. I still should go over there. I feel like I should still go over there and just sit for even for a half an hour and try to get like 500 words done if I can. Because if I do that for 8 weeks, that's 4,000 words that I didn't have. So
Right.
I need to be better at that. So this week I'm going to really try to get over there. Even if I don't make it at 11:30, I'll try to get over there at 12:15 and just do something, just to keep the words going. In the evening, I recorded my 3rd video in the APBA football game. I don't really know when this is going to end. I have 16 weeks of football times 14 games per week add in about 15 playoff games. That's a lot. It's going to take me years and years if I want to try to replay this whole season. So it's possible that I record everything I do for the next 5 years and throw it on YouTube, or it's possible that I quit next week and never put another video up. Who knows?
That's right.
You know, I could just quit one day and go, I just like playing it without video. So
I know where the smart money is going to go on this.
Yeah, I know what yeah, you're right about that. Anyway, so I did put the 3rd video up and I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I'll throw a link in the show notes if you want to just see what, really, I just want you to go there and click on it and just look at my camera setup. I'm so impressed with myself, with the fact that I have 3 cameras and I have the Ring and I have one of the cameras I'm calling Dice Cam. Like, I'm really, really happy with how that's working out. So, and then in the evening, let's see, I did that. And then Thursday, I was back into the office. So one of the things I had been working through on book 1, chapter 1, was who the murderer was going to be. And I had it as one of the HOA members from the beginning of plotting it, that's who it was. And for whatever reason, on Tuesday, as I started to write and think about it, even Wednesday, I started to change my mind and want to make it one of the neighborhood gardeners. But that person seems so random to me that I'd have to work them into the cast somehow. There was a lot of work to be done there. I also really liked what I plotted for this story based on the fact that one of the HOA members was the murderer. So on Thursday, I went in and completely changed it, replotted that first part to make sure that I got it right, and then wrote and ended up getting about what did I get, about 1,100 words. I think I had a little under 2,000 words by the time I was finished on Thursday with chapter 1. So add in 700, maybe 1,200 words or so on Thursday. I really, once I was ready, once I knew what was going to happen, I just breezed through that first draft writing it. It was very easy. Right at 1:00, I had to stop because I had to go back to work, and I still had a couple paragraphs to go with the chapter, so it wasn't finished, but it was pretty close.
Yeah. So when you say HOA member, you're talking about somebody who sits on the board of the HOA?
The board member, right. The board member.
That's a perfect villain because everybody hates those people.
Yeah. So. I have, I think I talked about it before. I have coworker Brian, who his neighborhood is part of an HOA, and I always make fun of him for that. He'll say something and I'll always just say, well, did the HOA approve it? Even if it's really silly. And, but I did ask him to ask his wife, who I've learned is on the HOA design board. I didn't know that existed. Tell me, I need to know how formal the meetings are. Do they do I nominate and I second it and then vote, let's vote. Do they do that? Are they that formal, or do they just get together and yell at each other for a while? I don't know how it goes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's called Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh, that's what I should write that down so I can Google it or chat GPT it. All right. So Friday I was back to working from home, and there was nothing writing related. And then in the evening I recorded video number 4 of the APA dice game. And that's how I'm titling them in my folders. That's how I'm putting a nice long title that includes APBA football, because I do want people to find them. Right. I think I mentioned earlier, it's a very small niche of people that play it. Even less of them are on YouTube because they're all, I'm probably like the youngest one of the people that play it. I started playing it in 1983, which is 41 years ago. I don't play it all the time. It's kind of on and off, more off than on lately. But I'd started watching some videos a couple months ago and kind of got a bug and bought the 1989 set. And now I'm playing it again. It's a very small group of people. I'm not trying to get views. I'm not trying to monetize the channel. I just kind of enjoy the group on YouTube, and I kind of want to worm my way into it and become part of that group. So So that's why I did that on Friday. Saturday, I woke up at 5 a.m. and finally the weather was good enough for me to golf. I drove up, played 18. I had a weird round where I struggled early and then struggled late, but really in the middle, maybe the middle 10 holes or so, I was really good. I had a birdie, my first birdie of the year, which is nice. And then I had a bunch of, I think I had, well, if I had to think about it right now, I birdied 6, I parred 7, 9, 11, 12, and 14. And then the wheels fell off and I struggled and on the last 4 holes, but still had a good time hitting the ball, especially when I was hitting the ball well. Got home and it was funny on the way home, my eyes really started hurting bad. Allergies, May and June allergies for me are the worst. So I came home, changed, and then drove to Hothead and began to work. So I finished, I finished chapter 1. I did the last couple paragraphs of chapter 1. Then I started and finished chapter 2. And as I was sitting there, I kind of thought about the next 4 to 5 weeks. We have Memorial Day coming up. We have the weekends. And then I have all those days off between June 14th and June 23rd, where I think I'm going to try to set a goal for myself to finish the first draft of this book, book 4, by June 23rd, which is 5 weeks away. That's going to be kind of tough, but I think I can do it if I just get as many words down as I can during those writing times. Don't dilly-dally with first revision stuff too much. I do have to finish the plot. I did not record the video yesterday that I was going to record for the final plot video, but I need to get the plot finished up. I have everything that happens between the second pinch point, the 70% mark, and the climax, which is like the 80 to 85 to 90% mark. That 10 to 15, 20%, I need to figure out what's going to happen. They're going to find the whole lowest moment and all those good things that the hero's journey likes. So pretty sure I'm gonna make a goal to. Well, I did make it. I set the goal to get it done. I might go into what do you call it, Scrivener, and see if I can set up their goals to show me that as I'm going. I don't know how to do that. I've watched some Scrivener videos lately, and you can do it, but it's more of a daily word count that you're setting up than like I want to be done on this date, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of what I know of it. Yeah, you could set up daily and manuscript goals, but I don't know if you could do what you're talking about.
Maybe if I set a manuscript goal of 40,000 words and then work toward that, that would be kind of the goal I'd be looking for. Because that's what I want it to be, between 40 and 50. But if I put 40 in there and then I hit 40, I should be pretty close to being finished with it. So
right.
That's what I'll look into. Let's see. I got home from Hothead last night, and I was just tired. I was listening to, so I wanted to talk about this real quick. I've gone with this whole Audible thing over the last like 5 to 10 years where I would get it, maybe get a book, maybe listen to it, and then cancel it 2 months later. Over the past 5 months, I am all over Audible. I'm downloading books and listening to them like crazy. And I don't know if you're familiar with the story of the Silk Road and Ross Ulbricht.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The drugs.
Yeah. So I listened to a podcast called Case File that I love, and he did a 3-part series on it. It's one of my favorite series because it's it's technology and all that good stuff, and it's a great story. I love how they finally caught him, all the stuff they went through to catch him. I love that story, that part of it. But a lot of the Case File stuff came from a book called American Kingpin. And on Thursday, I got my next credit for Audible, and I immediately bought that book and downloaded it. Listened to it while I was working for a few hours. And then yesterday, I listened to it on the way to golf, on the way home from golf, on the way to Hothead, on the way home from Hothead. And then I listened to it for like 5 hours last night, which that was part of the reason that I didn't do the video podcast last night after I got home from Hothead, because I was listening to that. But I was also so tired. My eyes hurt so bad. I just didn't want to get in front of a camera to do that. So I didn't do much of anything. I was, I'd gotten up early. Anytime I get up early and I'm just in the sun for a few hours and just getting beat on, I just get tired. I think that's probably a common thing. But this morning, same thing. I got up at 5. I was by myself today on the golf course. Did not play that well. I don't think I play that well when I'm by myself because I don't think I really take it very seriously. I hurry. I look at it and go, I'm by myself. I can get done in no time, which I really should not do. But came home. I did listen to the last hour of that podcast. So I finished it. So I bought it Thursday. It was a 12-hour Audible, and I did listen. I finished it in basically 2 days. It was that good. It was one of the ones I had bought a couple months ago was the I-15 Murders, another true crime one. I think I finished that in one day. It was wow. Yeah, it was really good. this morning I golfed by myself, came home. Then I immediately went to Panera, and I worked on chapter 3, but the same thing. My eyes were hurting like crazy. And I did take an allergy pill this morning before I went to golf. I think that helped because they didn't hurt today as bad as they did yesterday. But I was so tired. It was that heavy. I don't know if every now and then I'll take like half a Tylenol PM before I go to bed, and it helps me sleep if my nose is stuffed up or whatever. When I wake up, I have that heavy eyes, kind of groggy feeling.
Yeah. I need half a bottle of Xanax in order to get that, but yeah.
Okay. For me, it's just half a Tylenol PM. But that's how I felt today when I was sitting at Panera. So I wrote chapter 3. It was a little over 1,000 words. And then I just had to leave. I mean, I was just sitting there, not really able to, I was going to stay awake. I wasn't afraid I was going to fall asleep, but I wasn't awake enough to like continue writing. It was just not good. Right. So I came home, and I got home around 2:00, and the leaders in this PGA Championship golf tournament hadn't teed off yet. So I got on the couch, I put that on, I put a different podcast on that had an hour to go, and I laid back in the chair and just closed my eyes. I don't think I slept. I'm pretty sure I heard the entire podcast. But it's possible that I dozed in and out and had have really no idea what was going on. But as the podcast ended, I heard the theme music, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I feel good. I got to get up and do something. So the first thing I did naturally was record video number 5 in the APBA football dice game. I think I was talking to a coworker on, I believe it was Friday, and I was telling him, he's about 15 years younger than me, and he's a gamer. He plays video games on his computer every night. And I was telling him, yeah, I'm a YouTube sensation. I have a gaming channel now. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I play an old dice game, board game that I'm sure anybody under 50 won't care about. And I'm like, I'm also going to play Clue. And he makes fun of me for playing Clue because it's a board game from like 1920. There's a video game version of it. I go, maybe I'll put that on the channel too. And he goes, you should change your name to Gaming with the Old Guy, your video. And I'm like, actually, that's not bad, but I do like Jerry E25. I've had it my whole life. So I may change the channel name to Gaming with the Old Guy. You never know. But anyway, so
that'd be good for SEO.
It absolutely would. There's already a channel called Old Guy Gaming because I looked, but Gaming with the Old Guy I think works.
Yeah.
So let's see. So then after I recorded the video, I was watching some more of the golf, and then we started podcasting. All kinds of problems with the audio, but I think they're finally worked out. I will say that during the half an hour, 45 minutes, I was trying to fix the settings after we recorded about a half an hour the first time. I did watch the end of the golf tournament, and the guy that I was rooting for to win actually won. And I looked, I'm in 17th in this fantasy golf league that I'm in that pays a pretty good amount. I think first place is like $1,500, and nobody ahead of me had the winner. And I'm not very far out of first place. I might move into first place after, I'll see tomorrow when he updates the standings. I'm kind of excited. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't end until the end of August. So there's still a long way to go, but I've never been this high in the standings this late into the year. In this league, this is my 3rd year, and I've never been this high, so I'm very excited about it. And he won by making a birdie putt on the 18th hole. Like it was the dream that everybody dream. They're on the 18th hole. Oh, I need this for the win. That kind of thing. Right. So it's cool. It was pretty cool.
How many tournaments in are you on this so far?
Oh man, we're probably about 12, maybe 14 in, and
wow, okay.
Yeah, there's another probably 4. We're probably about the halfway point right now. Is where we're at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and that was my week. Again, I had a good writing week. I started book 4, got some words written. So I feel good.
Yeah. Well, my week was the 2nd week of my new job, and my training moved from reference down to circulation. And I thought it was going to be a really easy week because reference is all about answering people's questions, directing them the resources, maybe doing research for them if for some reason it's a really tough question, you can't answer it quickly, or they've got some kind of special needs where you have to go deep into the resources archives of the library in order to find answers for them. But I was wrong. Circulation is probably twice as bad as reference in terms of being tough to do, mainly because you're dealing with the tracking and preservation of books. And there's all kinds of different things that can go wrong. People bring in books that are damaged and have to be damaged so bad that they can't be repaired. So you have to invoice them. They come back mad because they're getting billed for this book. Then if they're going to pay the money for the book, they want the actual book. So you have to go find it. It's been in a Ziploc bag for a month and it's all moldy. but you give it to them anyways. You've got the damaged books that aren't so badly damaged. Maybe has a dust cover or something like that that you could possibly fix if the book's out of print. I did find it interesting that even the littlest of damage, like let's say there's a little bit of a stain on the ends of the pages, like maybe some coffee dripped on something. As far as the library is concerned, that book has been damaged. We're going to replace it if we can. I guess the idea is that you want to provide a pristine reading experience to whoever checks out a book. Now, the problem is with, up until this point in time anyways, most traditionally published books, they have a print run. Those books may be available for a year. If you're Stephen King, maybe you get some reprints, but most books go out of print and then you can't ever get new copies of them. So those are the books that you have to try to fix and make it so that people can take them out. And the other thing that's bad about circulation, at least in the library system I'm working in, which is one of the top 5 libraries in the country, is that their computer system is really, really antiquated. Not necessarily the hardware, although that's not anything spiffy in itself. But the programs that they're using, I mean, they've got like 1970s kind of interfaces, and it's just difficult to work with once you're used to dragging and dropping and all that kind of stuff. You just can't do that anymore. It's basically the kind of the equivalent of command line operations. Yikes. And so it's not quite that bad, but it's pretty close. Actually, a better analogy is it's kind of, I bet, in fact, I bet this is it. I bet it's built on something like a MySQL or something, not MySQL, but SQL. So it's some kind of a database. And so what you're getting is these forms that pop up with obscure directions about what you're supposed to do with them. Just nothing's very well explained. So anyways, that sucked up a whole bunch of mental energy this week, which is why I didn't get a whole lot of writing done. But on Monday, I did manage to write for about a half hour at lunch on Goya. I had 439 words. It wasn't great, but it was only a half hour. As I predicted last week, it's going to take me a while to be able to shift from work mode and then shift right into writing during lunch. That's just it's a mental thing. It's not exactly a block. It's just that I'm used to more transition time, and I just don't have the transition time now. So we're going to have to learn how to do something new. In the evening, I was too tired to think about writing, even though I kind of wanted to. So I worked on sizing the doors I bought last week for the master bath. They were slightly bigger than the openings that I have, so I had to trim them down. So I started doing that. Tuesday, and by the way, you're talking about what time you get up in the morning. Every day this week I was up at 5 a.m. So that because with the idea that I was going to do some writing, but none of the days this week did I do that. So mostly I sat there, ate cereal, and drunk coffee, and just didn't do anything until it was time to go to work.
Do you have guilt when you do that? Because I have guilt when I do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, I definitely have guilt. Now I've been easy on myself these last couple of weeks, and I'm gonna give myself a couple of more weeks until I get used to this new thing that I'm doing. Obviously, you drop something brand new in your life that's going to suck up 40 hours plus of your week. Everything's going to get rearranged. So I'm giving myself some slack. But if a month from now I'm still goofing off like this in the mornings, I'm going to be really upset with myself. Okay. Tuesday, I managed to write for almost an hour at lunch. So I got in that hour, I had 1,178 words, which was nice. I was really happy with that. Unfortunately, that was the last time I wrote for the week. If I had been able to keep that up, that would have been great. I did have plans again to write more in the evening, but this time my wife had other ideas. So we ended up playing board games after dinner. And then, as I mentioned, the days, because I have such intense concentration and I'm learning so many new things, I've been really exhausted. So we've been hitting the sack like between 9 and 9:30 every night. She's having an adjustment period with this as well, not just in terms of cooking that I talked about last week, but just the fact that I'm not around anymore to fix things or do things that need to be done. So we're gonna have to work through some of this. Wednesday and Thursday, those were the really intense days on the training. Mostly computer work, mostly back office stuff when I wasn't actually dealing with the public. And at lunch, I just wasn't in any mood to write. It's really interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I might have. That you can tell a library is full of introverted people because you go up into the lunchroom, break room, there's that, half a dozen or so people there, and everybody's equally spaced. Nobody's talking to each other. They're all spread out. So some of them are reading books, some of them are scrolling on their phone. So I decided to, go with the flow, and when in Rome, do what Romans do. So I scrolled on my phone for a couple days there. Yeah. Um, Friday, that was an easier day at the job. In fact, they pretty much left me alone on that day, except they gave me a lot of FaceTime with the public. So they figured that I had learned enough, or I knew enough about the computer systems and stuff that I wasn't going to screw up anything major. So they put me kind of on the front desk a lot, on the phones a lot, and it was fun because I enjoy talking with people, and I can talk, I can get, I can be very extroverted, or pretend to be very extroverted. If I had my choice, I wouldn't be doing it. But it's kind of like a sales job. You when you're in the library, you're kind of selling people on the services that you have. So that was fine. Unfortunately, when I came home, I completely crashed after dinner. I'm not sure what I did. I may have just fallen asleep. Saturday yesterday was kind of a catch-up day, and this is going to probably be true of most of my Saturdays going forward when I have them off. The morning I spent cooking to help my wife out for the coming week. I made chicken enchiladas, a casserole of that, spanakopita, some turkey soup, and I made some corn taco shells that we'll be having tacos with during the week. The afternoon I spent out in the garden. We had to cover up our blueberries, which are ripening. We have probably about a 12 by 6 foot patch of blueberries. And if we don't cover them with netting, the birds get them all. You just can't get them. So we covered that with netting. Then I worked on some other garden maintenance, like tying up tomato plants. And I did harvest my first batch of potatoes, which turned out really well. I got and I'm growing these in what are called grow bags. They're basically fabric flower pots. They're maybe 18 inches, maybe 24 inches across, and maybe about 18 inches tall. You just fill them with dirt and you plant stuff. I planted potatoes in 10 of these bags, basically, and I dumped the first one out, and I got 7 pounds of potatoes out of it. So
wow,
it's it was pretty good. I put in probably half a pound in terms of seed potatoes, and I got 7 potatoes out. So in the evening, I made both potato salad for a church potluck that we had today. And for us, I made crispy baked potato wedges with schmaltz. And I don't know if you know what schmaltz is.
I don't, but it sounds so good.
Yeah. Schmaltz is chicken fat.
Oh, okay.
So when you render down chicken skins and stuff, and you get this fat, and it's a Jewish, schmaltz is a Yiddish word, I think. And it makes really crispy potato wedges. So
I love
I did. It was really good. And when we were having technical problems, I made some salads for us, and I put leftover potatoes in it. It was fantastic. This morning we spent at church. Then had a cookout afterward. Didn't get home till probably about 1 o'clock. Did some laundry and a bit more garden maintenance, and then after record the podcast. Well, I planned to have dinner, but I've already done that, so I'm going to read before we go to bed. Actually, no. You know what's going to happen after we're done with this podcast is I got a text from my son while I was reading or while I was eating, waiting for you to get the technical problems ironed out. And we're going to have a Skype call. My daughter-in-law, Joyce, just got back from Paris. She was in Paris all week. So we're going to get a chance to hear all about her trip. So that'll be pretty interesting. Yeah. So that was my week.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
I've already forgotten one of them because I'm tired. What is spanakopita?
Spanakopita are basically little spinach pies. They're Greek. It's spinach and chopped onions and feta cheese and lemon juice. You kind of mix that all up, and then you put it in puff pastry, and you bake it, and it puffs up, and it's got like really, really flaky crust and spinach on the inside. So it's a little spinach pie. Yeah.
Okay. I honestly did forget the second question.
Okay.
I'm looking at the outline, like what did he say that made me think of a question, and I don't remember what it was. So that's okay. Anyway.
Well, it probably wasn't related to writing anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I'm sure it wasn't. Neither of us did a whole lot of that this week, so I'm sure it wasn't.
No.
All right. Heading on to my running list of future things to do. So I have on here finished plotting my next 6 books. I have to finish 4, which is going to be the next video I do. I may try to do it tomorrow. The only issue with that is I really want to play my football game, so it's a matter of which one wins. out of those two, maybe both of them, depending on what time I decide to start. I have to get it at 5 a.m. on Tuesday, so it's not going to be a late night. But we'll see. So I do have to do that. I also need to look into the overall plot of the overarching story
Hmm.
to make sure that I know what points need to be where. In fact, I started writing chapter 3 today, and I started writing pieces into it that I'm going to use in the first pinch point of the whole story. So this is
Okay.
the beginning. This is basically the between book 3 and 4. This is the beginning of book 4. A few things are going to happen. So this is kind of like the first pinch point of the overarching plot. So, but I need to plot that out better so I know what I need to add to these stories. And then I did add to that finish book 4 by June 23rd as a kind of a future thing to do. Since it's not a weekly goal, obviously I just stuck it in there so I'd remember to say it every week. In terms of my addicted to, it's apparently making YouTube videos as I am YouTube superstar. I think my 5 videos now have a total of 27 views. So I mean the money's gonna start rolling in anytime, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think what do you need? 1,000 subscribers in order to monetize, something like that.
Is
So
it
you
a
need to.
thousand or 100?
I thought it was 1,000, but
Okay,
maybe
I'm
I'm
not
wrong.
even sure. Yeah, I'm not even sure. I
Yeah.
don't expect it because I'm not trying. Well, that's funny. I'm not trying to, so that's probably the one that I'll
That,
actually hit.
that's
Um,
exactly right.
yeah, I'm just posting the videos because I think there are again very small group of people who actually would watch them. So
Well, the APBA dice game is going to sweep the nation, so you'll be at the vanguard of that.
I would
So
love to bring it back. You know, everything else comes back at some point. I'd love to bring the dice
yeah.
football game back.
Well,
Um,
board games are real popular right
yeah,
now, still.
yeah.
So you never know.
Mhm.
My addicted to was basically nothing at all. I had a very eclectic week, and it's probably because of the training. I was just doing all kinds of different things at all different times. Maybe I think I mentioned this. I think I said this last week at all as well. If I do had something I was addicted to, it was apples because I ate at least one apple every single day this week, and that will probably continue going forward.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I do like apples. I'll buy them and I'll eat like one or two and then throw the bag away like a month later. I don't know why. They're easy.
yeah,
You don't have to cook them.
you're easy.
You don't have to slice them. You can just grab one and eat it. So,
Yeah, I have a real sweet tooth too, so it's no problem for me to eat
yeah,
apples. I just have to remember to have them in the house when I'm making
yeah.
my lunch.
Hmm. All right. In terms of my upcoming schedule, back to work from home tomorrow. Nothing writing related planned. In the evening, I will record some video, maybe 2. We'll see how that goes. I'm in the office on Tuesday. I have a 90-minute lunch where I'll do some writing. I'll probably start chapter 4 on that day. And then I have my golf league in the evening. And I believe I'm in the last group. So it'll be a late night. Wednesday, I work from home. And again, I'll try to do my best to get across the street to the library, even if it's for like a half an hour, just to get something done. I saw, you had done on Monday where you said, I got a half hour right. I wrote 480 words, whatever it was. That's kind of what I'm shooting for if I don't have the whole
Mhm.
90 minutes. So I'll definitely try to do that on Wednesday to get something done. Thursday, I'm back in the office. I'll have another 90-minute lunch. Tuesday and Thursday, both, I'm sure I'll talk to myself on the way to work, try to figure out what I'm going to write. I every now and then I think to myself, boy, I should just push record and try to, write the chapter by talking. But I think it would be so jumbled by the time that I finished it, where even if I was to transcribe it, I don't know if it'd be messy. Um,
Yeah, I think it takes time to learn how to do that well. I know what's his name? Kevin Anderson does that. Yeah, he takes long walks in the woods by his house and just records his stories.
mhm.
And but I think if I'm not mistaken, he actually has somebody who transcribes it for
Yeah,
him
he
and
does.
and edits it before he ever sees it again. So
I
yeah,
need that. I need that person. I wonder
yeah,
if that person's
exactly.
free. Yeah, I need that. Okay, so Friday I'm back to working from home. There's a chance I didn't realize May went really fast. I didn't realize Memorial Day was a week from tomorrow, and I'm
Yeah.
off work. So there's a chance I take a half a day Friday. I gotta look at my vacation days, see where I'm at, make sure that I want to have enough on the other side of June 23rd to where I'm not like running out of vacation days by August. So take a look and see what I have. And there's a chance I do a half a day on Friday since the following Monday is Memorial Day. Give myself a little bit of a longer weekend. And if that's the case, I'll go right after I log off at 11 a.m. I'll go somewhere for lunch and I'll sit and write and work on the book. Saturday and Sunday both are golf in the morning, come home, change my clothes, maybe even shower the way the allergies are killing me right now. And then go write somewhere. On Sunday, I'll come home and we'll do the podcast. And that's my week. In terms of my goals, I just get instead of doing like a hey, just continue to do this or stay ahead or whatever. I just said, let's get the next 3 videos done for book, or next 3 videos. That's what's on my mind right now. The next 3 chapters done for book 4. So by the end of the week, I should be through 6 chapters. If I do write Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, that should not be a problem. In fact, I should go farther. And if I add Friday in there, then I should go even farther. So I think that's a pretty easy goal to hit. Get the final plotting video recorded and posted is another thing that I need to get done, because before, if I don't do it soon, I'll end up at a point where I'm writing now and have nothing to write. So,
Right.
yeah, we can't have that. And then my last goal is to just record some more football game videos, put them up online, see if I can get some viewers there, and just keep enjoying playing the game, because I really do enjoy rolling the dice and playing the game.
Well, my coming week is going to be pretty simple. This week, I'm going to be moving over to the regional branch library where I'll actually be working here going forward. I have no idea how much, if any, training they're going to give me when I get there, if they're just going to assume I know everything. One thing I will have to do at a minimum is I'll need to get a grip on where everything is located in that particular library and meet all the people that work there. It's like I said last week, it's amazing how many people are behind the scenes. For every one person, when you walk in, or for every one librarian person you see working there, there's at least 5 in the back room doing stuff to keep the whole show running. So I'll have to meet all those people. I've met some of them already, but I'll have to meet some more. My plan is to write each and every lunch period, even if I only have a half hour, 45 minutes to do it after actually eating. We'll see how that goes, but that feeds right into my goal for the week, which is to get at least 2,500 words for the week. So basically 500 words a day. And here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to do. I don't take a laptop with me because I don't want to have to keep an eye on it. I may have lockers at the new branch I'm going to. I didn't have one at where I was training. So I don't want to keep an eye on a computer, because you could be at any place in that library at any given moment. And so what I've been doing is I've been just writing it all out longhand. And my idea was, okay, I'm going to write longhand. I'm going to drop it into GPT-4 and have it just transcribe. Well, it turns out my longhand is just too sloppy, and it can't do it. And it's cursive. And my cursive is too sloppy. And maybe it's just not good at cursive to begin with. So this week I'm going to attempt, when I write, to write in I don't know what you call it, block lettering or whatever, and see if I can then give it to GPT and if it will transcribe it for me. Go ahead.
Did you take a picture of it?
Yeah, you take a picture. Yeah, you take a picture of it with your phone and you upload it.
Oh, okay.
And it transcribes it. Yeah.
Okay.
My backup to that is to use, and I forgot the name of what's it called? StorySpeak, I think.
StorySpeak. Yep, with Malcolm.
Yes,
yep.
Right. It's to use StorySpeak and just read it and voice it into StorySpeak and let it transcribe it for me, which is a good backup, and it might actually be easier to do it that way than to fiddle with GPT-4. So that's what my goals for the writing goals for the week. I cut it back by half. 500 words doesn't seem like too much to ask every lunch period, and maybe with a little bit lower goal, I won't kind of shy away from actually doing it, and I'll just go ahead and do it. And the other thing I'm going to do this week is I plan on working more on those master bath doors. If I'm really lucky, I'll actually get at least one of them hung. If I'm super lucky, I'll get 2 of them hung. We'll just have to see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, and in terms of stuff to share, I really don't have anything, because all I've been doing is working this week and training or thinking about working and training. So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Just working and recording videos all week is what I've been doing. So nothing exciting to share as of now. So that's going to be the podcast for this week.
Well, you do have something important to share with people, and that is check your Chrome settings, because Chrome is listening to you.
Well, now I'm not. Well, yeah. I mean, the problem is this app we have. There's a mute button that I have to mute myself on Chrome, which is still strange to me. But Chrome definitely it seems like it has an open mic that is listening, which I'm not surprised. I don't really say anything that's outrageous, so I don't particularly care too much, except for the fact when I tried to record, it was echoing like crazy. So.
Well, I'm going to check my Chrome settings, but if this is true, I would not be surprised, because then it would completely explain how you could have a conversation with somebody about tennis rackets, and then suddenly your Facebook feed is filled with tennis racket advertisements.
I mean, if I were to disable it, it would just be now only my phone and my Alexa are the only two things listening to me. So it's not that big of a deal for me. So,
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So that's the podcast for this week. If you want to get in touch with us, email me, Jerry at jerryevanoff.com. The website is jerryevanoff.com. If you want to view us on YouTube, youtube.com/at new author podcast. And on Patreon, patreon.com/new author podcast. I will be putting another video up at some point this week that will go behind the dollar paywall. And then, if you want to view it on YouTube, you have to wait a week before it'll be there. So, if you want to help us out, support us, then feel free to go to patreon.com/new author podcast and sign up for that. And that would highly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to talk to me, my email address is rich@richcacy.com. You can find me on any of the social medias except X at Kacy himself. And you can find links to my Vella stories on my website, richcacy.com.
All right, everyone, that's the podcast for this week. Hopefully the audio problems are all worked out. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Yeah, have a great week.